Good evening, everyone. This is the special board meeting of November 6, 2023 of the Board of Park District Commissioners in the Bluff, Lake County, Illinois. I'm going to roll call, please.
Commissioner Greenfield.
Here.
Commissioner Lane.
Here.
Commissioner Raymore.
Here.
Commissioner Reeder. Commissioner Walsh.
Here.
Commissioner Weber. And President Beeler.
Here. Next, may I have a motion to approve the agenda? Second. Roll call, please, Marcia.
Commissioner Greenfield.
Yes.
Commissioner Lane.
Yes.
Commissioner Raymore.
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh.
Yes.
Commissioner Weber. Not there. President Beeler.
Yes. Next on our agenda, excuse me, is the statement of visitors. This permits anyone who is in attendance here at a meeting or online to address the board for 3 minutes on any matter which may pertain to the Park District. There is no one physically present this evening. Is there anybody online?
There is nobody on Zoom.
Then we conclude that segment of our agenda. Quickly for verbal communications with a report. First off, a thank you to the community church. I believe the tent has been taken down at the beach. So this was a very successful partnership. I've seen Jim nod, I've seen John nod. Very successful partnership with the community church and benefiting them being able to get services there during the summer and us being able to have a secondary location to rent out and use for camps or other activities that were down there. So thank you to them. Second is that if everyone's gotten this in the mail from the friends, it is their notice about the Friends of the Park District and all the things that they've made possible. I really like all of the verbiage on the back. These are the ideas that came from our joint session. These are all the ideas that we talked about as to how the Park District affects your life. If you've been on a swing, if you've walked down to the beach, if you've gone on the sledding hill, if you've played anything on any of the courts, sailed a boat on the beach, watched a dance class, these are all the ways that the Park District has an impact on our lives, from toddlers or younger than toddlers to whatever age you continue to reside in the community and use these services. So I hope that everybody gets a chance to see that. 2 other things. There is an author in town. I don't know if other people have had the opportunity to hear her. I think she's spoken at newcomers and other different events. Her name is Catherine Hayden. She wrote a book called Unsalted Blue Sunrise, and it's her reflections on Lake Michigan. And she references the open water swimmers as well. So I hope everybody has a chance to see that or hear her speak.
I think she's speaking in the next week or two at Gordon.
I think she is, yeah. So it's really lovely. And finally, the village is open with your comprehensive plan and their survey. If you have the opportunity, I would invite everybody to please take the survey and also take a look online. There is an interactive map with the entirety of the village that allows you to make comments and to identify different parts of the village like Bluff, but obviously the Park District is part of that as well. So it's interesting to read some of the comments that people are making about the Park District property as well as the village. So I encourage everybody to go on to that. On to our new business for tonight, to start off with the 2023 tax levy. So I will ask.
We also did you want to mention the in your report ABR review.
Thank you very much. Thank you for pointing out to me. Tomorrow evening, the architectural review board for the village at 7 o'clock tomorrow night will discuss the lighting changes that could be taking place in both Blair as well as Artesian. This is because of the ComEd, and I'll ask you to kind of comment on the ComEd grant that we could be receiving for lighting, etc.
Correct. So we are receiving it. They've been busy with a lot of lighting, with the gymnasium, so it's great. If you look, just glancing there your way out, it's set at 85% right now. It's still very bright. These, will go after a period of being inactive, they'll dim, and then they'll, come up with motion, we can control it with an app. There's a lot of improvements here. The light out have been very difficult due to sensitivity with neighbors to, when those lights put in part of there were several meetings, a lot of discussions about lighting. So we did request that the contractor that's working with, through the village to kind of make sure that these are improved before the work is done. Gettings are, this was, if we were able to do everything more than $70,000 worth of work for, it was a ridiculous sum. It's like $10 out of our pocket for all that work. But it's going to cost more lighting, spill over to the neighbors, and we could potentially have problems. So a contractor is in contact with my PDR and is arranged for this review of the outdoor lighting before the work is done. So the contractor will be given over where that will be there to represent the farmers. It's open public meeting, but we'll see how that goes and be discussing the outdoor lighting.
Do you have specs on what's being done? I'd love to see them if you do.
We do, there's pages.
Okay, because I can give you your office and see it.
Okay.
Got a light group.
Notation and for what?
It might be in the packet too, on
Check that out.
the village PBR.
Thank you for that reminder. Okay, now on to the 2023 tax levy for 2020. So for John and Wolf, if you would like to
That's
lead us through this again.
it started in, thank you for that question, Taylor. I started in the world. This is something we talk about each year with our tax levy, and so we have page 2, 3 through 5 here are all pages that regarding the tax levy proposed increase for this year. It's been reviewed by the finance committee, and you can see there they have approved or recommended the increase, and so I'm going to turn it over to Wolf and just kind of let them walk through this super briefly.
Commissioners, President Fields, President Wells, Commissioners, we're putting us for general services. It's like last year, we're going to say how this works at that point, but confident and able to explain it much better. The other portion of the tax is capped at either the lesser of the CPI or 5%. Even though in December of the previous year, its guidance on whether the CPI is going to be or is supposed to be, but it's a number on page 5. January 12th, and they say that the consumer price index is 55%, so we don't pay a lot to use the 5% is the lesser of the CPI or PTI unit. In this case, an additional 5% on the tax rate will generate approximately $112,512. With a reasonable market value of approximately $500,000, that is around $60 increase for the year. For mobile homes, a $60+ increase. Any questions?
And so thank you also for including the historical vote that we've had regarding the CPI and its impact on the Park District too. So that is helpful as well. Because we've all been through this before as a board. Does anyone have any questions about?
Or, one of the things, again, we're just keeping up with inflation and keeping up with the, especially labor. I know we can tell them what we talk about it here, but the minimum wage goes up, and we are doing versus it increases by now through 2025, until, well, until $15. And then, you know, that's probably waiting until we've had to adjust other, you know, a lot of other salaries to adjust for that minimum wage, more than just those entry level folks that were, I mean, we had a lot of our tech staff, we up to about 175 in the summer to provide the services that we provide. So it's definitely had a large impact on the park district, but this, opinion just helps us to keep up and make sure we can, you know, meet that demand.
We need the finance community, as you said, John, and with a lot of to raise taxes, particularly the minimum wage increase, state money fees, having to work on those systems. It's nice to say we don't increase taxes, but it's not the real world. Everything else is wrong, and we felt that we really didn't have much option but to go.
I think we did this analysis before where we did not increase what would happen to our revenue with our district as well if we voted to not pass this through or do less than we are allowed by law to do. What happened?
I think when we talked about that, it was, you know, just using the example, 50,000, we don't think that doesn't sound like a lot, you know, but that's in perpetuity too. If you look at the 10-year snapshot, I mean, you give it up, you know, $500,000, you can't go back. So, you know, it's a cumulative effect if you facilitate the increase.
So the recommendation from staff as well as from the finance committee is to approve the tax levy extension at the rate of 5%. At the December 18th regular board meeting. So we're approving it now to give an approval then.
Now,
And we also give to approve this as part of the calculations for the budget. Correct.
Correct.
There we go.
And the budget needs to be presented in public service before the action is taken, and as we notice public.
That's what it is.
So we're locked in.
Okay, so we're within compliance. Any other discussion from the board?
No, I did say to John, I'd like to see the detail. I think it's important that we have it somewhere, the impact to us from all the increases in utilities and fees that we had, which you have accounted for in the budget discussion, but I think that's important to let people know that they're costs that are beyond our control.
yeah, we have that, we have to divide that for more and you can see where that impact.
I'm just, in the past, well, like, because they were pretty low in the past, was there any point where it was recommended to limit with CPI, but they didn't take it? Because you don't have that one.
No, well, it's 2013 cases number was 1.5, and only did half of it.
Yeah.
So that was, because you haven't, okay, so these were the ones, these were state CPI that one.
So the state CPI and the right was the board approved our decision.
Yes,
So it never was a business in the past.
It's not, it's also been, when we took this other, 5% it was 1990.
Okay. What was it in 2022? Because I thought it was slightly high then. There was a question mark in packet.
Oh, that's for now.
Okay. Sorry, I thought that was.
So in 1990 was it
2001 or 2 as well, but I think it's 1990.
okay, thank you.
With no further questions or comments, may I have a motion, please, to approve the, 2023 tax levy extension with a 5% increase? Second. Roll call?
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner Raymore,
Yes.
Commissioner Welsh,
Yes.
President Beeler.
Yes. Next on our agenda is the 2024 draft budget, which will be open to discussion. I'll turn it over to Wolf and to John, and also with Paul as well as part of the finance committee.
All right, thank you. And Bill will go through, again, this information was presented to the finance committee. There were several questions, comments, recommendations that came out of a very good meeting with the finance committee that have been taken into account when preparing this budget. And there, I'll turn it over to Wolf to get us started, and then if you want to at any point jump in and clarify any information from the finance committee.
Board of Commissioners, President Beeler, Vice President Welch, Superintendent of Business Services, presenting the initial draft budget. The notice we're looking at currently, as well as some of the capital clarification, especially for that capital for 10 years. And that will all be presented to you over the next week and a half. In time, so the 30-day notice or availability of the public notice is met. Again, the fiscal year 2024 tax levy rate for taxes payable in fiscal year 2024, the PTO limit is calculated at 5%. Thank you for that after the last motion. So this 5% rate amounts to approximately 132,000 increase over the previous levy. The taxpayer impact is calculated to be about $61.54 for a home with a market value of $1 million, so a little over $30 for a home with a market value of $500,000. I think the average home value in that is about $538,000. If I recall, so it is not extremely onerous. At this point in time, the entity-wide net change in fund balance is budgeted to be $235,967. This can change and go up a little bit after our discussions today or over the next week or 2 weeks when you have questions or concerns or anything else. The fiscal year 2024 capital expenses are projected to be $614,500. This includes a sanctuary power play structure as well as the ADA ramp for the paddle hut. Those are the two larger ones. So aside from debt service, which is supposed to have a zero fund balance, all funds reserve balances are above 25%. The long-term or 5-year projection show that although the capital projects fund balance will become negative in fiscal year 2027, the entity-wide fund balance is still above 25%. So this brings up some questions potentially in future rules of whether or not to increase the transfers, especially from the rec fund, which has a very healthy and growing fund balance surplus, to increase the transfers from the rec fund to the capital projects fund. Health insurance expenses are increasing due to a potential change in the percentage cost share. And then the recreation fund transfers to the capital projects fund are increased to $250 for fiscal year 2024 to help begin to offset the reducing capital projects fund balance. Are there lots and lots of questions?
Yes, I'm going to start off first with Sanctuary Park with the equipment for the capital master list. Have we had any discussion yet with the friends, because with John Kirk's presentation the other week, they're looking for good partnerships for funding.
We can discuss that within. This is, that's a pretty large purchase.
It is.
So that will probably be a good candidate for an Holland grant. a better candidate than the pool for that specific grant. And so that might be a good avenue to look for a matching grant. And apply for that next year, with them, but, we've not had a discussion with friends.
Okay, so that would be something that again, with liaison, that's probably.
Yeah, they're largest chunk of money that they have, like, set aside, Sunrise Beach. Otherwise, it's pretty small chunk for, small, preschool.
So I just in keeping with that, I mean, you've got the tuck pointing on the building, but if there's anything else that could be done with that, that's another thing to talk to the friends about. In the fall HVAC for the building or the zero turn mower, are those going to be funded from the golf fund?
They are, and so, staff, has, met with, Paul Fitton, and reviewed the capital list. These are a couple of new ones that weren't, what we had identified. But again, on our, we had different ones, so we had the roof on the first maintenance building this year, next year, up for replacement. And, that was from going through that, study with ACG architectural firm many years ago, assigning a life, to each of these different components, roofs, decks, sidewalks and carpet. So, in talking about business staff and our meeting staff, there's no leak. The roof is holding up okay, so they felt good about pushing that further down the road. And moving on to HVAC is about 20 years old at this point, and then having a lot of trouble with it. There's also part of the building, the kitchen in the rear office, and having a water was included with the system, so there's very little circulation back there. And it's on the slab, so that might likely need to be a split system at this point. And there's also trouble with the bathroom ventilation fan. So we're looking at getting a couple of quotes, but that was kind of a trade for the roof, and that's still in okay shape. Made a little bit more sense to do this for this year, and then the point was brought up that if we do need to do the sprinkler system by 2026, to look at whether there's any possibility for savings to do the project together. While that work is being done, we're looking into that as well. For the zero turn, we were looking at a different piece of equipment. One of the cars, a carry-on, I think it was called, and their recommendation was that there's plenty of cars with more cars than our employee to use them. They felt that the zero turn would be more advantageous. They could do that, cutting the run and doing more mowing, so that seems to make sense. But that would be coming out of specifically out of money that's being brought in from the revenue involved in the money for the capital.
So can I understand, were these on our 10-year capital plan?
They were out of this order.
Okay.
We did some changing around based on their doing how we're using equipment in the buildings.
And when we talked about moving more back on the backside of the room, is that part of this $40,000, or were you talking about?
So they work with K-Health, they've had them to do some work in there. They requested like quote to these upgrades, and then we would also our maintenance manager Ben is going to reach out to our already has our contractor and request a quote from them, so it will probably get a third because of the price, to get at least 3 quotes to look at. But I mean, right now we're likely to get one proposal to see if we're in the ballpark here. We just kind of make these assessments.
Okay.
And if I can add with the golf course this year, we're so at probably $4,000. And only the city here, but there's still be one bit.
It's one way.
Yeah.
So that would be covered, I mean, again, the agreement is that income covers these capital expenses.
Yeah, and I was curious if they were on the capital plan, that they weren't just new things that suddenly appeared.
It's just kind of a, it's a living document and people change it around. We take a look each year. Those, it's one of the things we try to go through with. I get a no or in line and, we'll continue to do that and update, but yeah, I think this will be covered by all forever.
Then I'll just throw in my request. It has nothing to do with the budget itself, but I personally would like to see capital if it was related to the funds. So broken up by fund. So I know it's not immediately available, but I think that would not be a bad.
Well, I have on page 38 of the packet, under the records for the subfund, if you look at the capital improvement fee, that was on the state in the software, correct?
By software is me entering negative instead of a positive.
So that becomes positive.
Yes.
What page are you on?
And if you give me one second. So we have no capital investment money for that we're discussing separately.
Right.
On page 49, we could also Wolf has a budget of golf lease proceeds of $92,000, and that's quite a lot. That's going to go up. Because next year we receive $50,000 fixed payment instead of $40,000, and we get 17% of the revenue for $800,000 instead of 12%. So even at the time, and what was an exam, it was not horrible. So we took this year as a base, then revenue for next year would be about $135,000. So, which is and the other thing we discussed at the finance committee meeting was this issue of out-of-title capital expenditures and transfer money. I mean, the bottom line is the same about money that the park district has ends up being the same. It's just where we take it from and where we get that money coming from. And I would assume we have further discussions on that. And that's not it's not something that's.
So that relates to the ongoing debt that we have as the park district and how it's been refinanced over the years and how to best.
And we have this working on that.
Yes. We did receive a response from the auditors. I just have not been able to process it yet.
That we did this afternoon, received that. So we had the auditor back then, but answer one thing I was down to. We went for the debt service consistently. So whether panel wall, then we have like the larger debt, which is the rec center. But right now you see that where it's applied to pool or preschool, etc. So do we show them all applied consistently, or do they all go into debt service? So we have been looking at our rates to see how do they do both things. So some what's it all in debt service, and that's what debt service is for all the different debt that they have, and then some show it in the individual. So that wasn't necessarily inclusive, but we did receive this response from our auditors. We'll sit through this information and I think come back with a little bit better information and plan here for the board.
So how is our stormwater assessment being attributed? Where does that come from?
That's just for the operating, for the environmental gain, yeah.
Yeah.
That was included in water utility bill,
Water.
so it's part of the utility.
When that was resolved? In that was issued,
In process.
it's in process.
Yeah, we met once with, that and from the village, we talked about, that was, I think, even before we got built, when we.
Yes,
So,
so
and once we received the bill, we're, surprised that it was higher than expected. So we reached out, a couple of times and requesting a meeting to go over it again, and also I did put in a request for an extension that call for all the court, drainage of the Skokie, so it does not affect the utility, so I'm asking for 100% exemption, which he mentioned was not only we would probably get that approved, but I requested anyway. The problem, the burden on the property owner to do, engineering and, whatever studies to show that, sort of make your point of, we said that you've already done all of this with the engineering, whereas that you use the information that you have, review that and reconsider
Did they give you a total number?
a total number.
Yep. Because initially they had one prospectively when they rolled out the assessment, we met with the village and there was a greatly reduced number. Which
Yeah, I think it was.
they proposed and then
12,000, something like that.
correct, and now they told you a total number.
if there was not a 100% sort of exemption, but there's only a reduction, and the reduction will be 75%, the total will be approximately 16,400.
So
So it's gonna be-
how did it propose?
What's that?
Higher than the one.
Higher to lower than the initial. 22, 23, whatever that was. But now below is the revised number, it's on the detail, we're still working with that, we've sent a couple of, correspondence or emails requesting a meeting so that we can get together since receiving the invoice, to go over that, and we've not heard back, I guess, the response on arranging the meeting.
Okay, and as far as I can see, and I haven't seen anything, the village hasn't reissued the assessment to each one of the entities, the schools, the churches, the towns, everybody else that they were affecting, because originally they did publish a list of where everybody stood. We haven't seen a revised list.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any revised list or list of exceptions or exemptions.
Sorry for the diversion, I just wanted to know where that was falling in our budget next year.
Can we go to page 57 of the packet, please? The capital projects. This is actually, we have 614,500 budgeted for capital. We assume 13,500 grants and donations. So you got 162,500 transferred in from special revenue. Why not you transfer the rest in from general and work?
Never answer that other than it's sort of traditional in that way. However, it also depends on what potential surplus would be in that year. If the surplus is high enough, then yes, we can definitely do that. And that, also, that assumes that all of the 614,500 will be done in the calendar year and that there would be no carryover. As well.
Okay.
Should this page be showing that money from Golf Visions that will be only for capital? Is that where this would show? Because we have that restricted fund. Yeah, this is.
Yes, it really can be so. So the money that comes, when the money comes in full, it goes into the capital fund. Or account for their, but yes, I can add a line that would help for clarity's sake. So I agree with you.
Competition here.
Oh, no, yeah, I think because, there's been more discussion, more questions about that as well. From other commissioners in previous years to make sure that this money is, earmarked or, properly, signified.
Yeah, do we show that anywhere in the water, the balance for the golf?
Yes, it goes into the, fund balance, but I'm not certain right now, the audit would also then show the, debt service related to the golf sub fund. So it almost balances out. Meaning that the money that shows up, but is collected for golf, is sort of nullified by the debt service in the audit. But for our purposes, it is separated out in the capital fund.
So, for the pool, like. I mean.
Well, that's gonna be money for
What happened? I know we're working on it, but you have to account.
well, I think if the study is being done, I think the idea was that GDP as a process of starting that work to discuss what we're gonna do with the pool. And I think once that happens, that will change things, presumably. But to put money in when we many of them were taking that out because it would be part of the study project. I think it would make the most sense not to include items that are subject to extensive discussion.
One of the things that Commissioner Weber also mentioned in his email today, he wanted it to be brought that from the discussion at the finance committee that they were comfortable that if we receive the grant that we have on to match the grant, so that we just wanted that noted during this discussion.
Right, so shouldn't that be accounted for then? Could that be $600,000?
No.
Is that's $600,000 you need to account for? It's not in there.
I don't say that.
Is she talking about accounting for the 600,000 from the state, which is a grant?
Yeah.
We don't usually account for that because we don't know until it's awarded. I think we could do, when we do the appropriations.
We can do it then, we can also make a code, followed by, I need to verify timing, so even though if we were to receive the grant and we did have to, contribute $600,000, that may not actually come out of the pocket of the park district until 2025 as well.
I thought up to 2026.
2 years.
Yes.
2 years. Grant cycle, typically, executed in May of 24, so you have a 2-year grant cycle. May of 26.
But including a note to make a placeholder and to let people know is a good idea.
And then the 10-year capital would be adjusted to put that placeholder in for capital expense.
Yeah, so right on the long-term capital, including 2025, why you see the big jump is that includes a $300,000 to $350,000 for a new pool line. So in that case as well, if we were to receive the grant and then go with this project, that capital would, go to zero and the other capital to a project would increase.
But again, the balance in our funds is certainly sufficient to handle managing that 600,000.
So the jump that Paul is referring to, you see that's on page 58 of the packet. The cap knowledge, so there's 225. It's a pretty large increase.
Yes.
Okay, so the next, step will be with the capital list that you have here, as well as with the, CPI levy. You'll have a finalized budget then, and that will be brought before us for approval on the 18th of December.
Yes, we'll be shared, everything will be shared in as much as a finalized way as possible within the next 2 weeks, at least by November 18th.
7th is that's the 7th days or shoot for 17 to have it available to the public again as
30 days.
Finalized draft of the.
And then it'll be on the agenda for the regular meeting again as discussion, and then for a approval at the December meeting.
So during that next week and a half, any questions, any, comments that you have that can still come up, send them to us. We have time to still look at this.
Do you have one question I still don't understand? Is when we got the golf fishing contract, it was to pay for the capital expense for the golf course that was, over 800,000. And so my question is, golf fishing's paying for that, so that would make us have 800,000 more towards capital expenses. So I don't understand where that money is. Does that make sense? So that was in the list, in the budget plan before, we were paying for college until we renegotiated the contract so that they would pay for it. So I'm just
Yes,
curious what that surplus of money that we were gonna have to go towards golf course went to.
I do understand your question. I need to,
I just want to understand where it is.
Yeah, I would say it's probably just allocated to other meetings, on the list of total, the 10-year list. As well as now the new, we discussed at the golf committee meeting, how they, potentially needing the fire suppression system and the clubhouse and the chemical building could potentially cost $175,000. That's a new capital expense that's going to be incurred. So I mean, this whole thing, kind of shifts, but I think it's more money was brought in from Gulf Vision to address those capital needs. I think that, money that's just been is being, put towards other capital needs of the park district. That it wasn't, I'm not necessarily a plan that let's take this 50,000 this year and put it in full pocket or something like that. I think it's just, just been used for the capital fund.
And that, I mean, this question, we had this conversation in the golf, and I was there at that part, that was part of the plan for the.
It wasn't a long.
And I know it moves around, but again, overall, there should be more money since we're getting the more money from. So I don't understand that, so if somebody can help me understand that, where that money is going.
If you just be a tiny bit patient, then over the next few days and weeks, yes.
Thanks.
Because it is a good question and it's not a very,
Because we hope that the money would go to capital expenses that are new, but it would, I think it just needs to be accounted for. I feel like we could do a better job accounting for that. And I think that's just important to the community, so they can know like, hey, we do have this nice, great partnership with Golf Vision, that we got more money, right, coming in. Well, what happened to that 800,000 that we had planned for before in the budget plan, or we had that contract? And so I'm just trying to understand, because that's a lot of money.
tentatively, and I can't, I'm not an expert quite yet on the longer term numbers, like the 10-year ones. It's possible that we had this capital plan without the other side of the transaction, without quite having the funds available to afford that capital plan.
I think that is, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it is a good question, and it's not something that's easy to answer. And so taking some time to study and analyze it and come up with an effective way to share that story is valuable.
Thanks.
Okay. Moving on to our last item, under new business, we have the fitness center towel service, excuse me, modified towel service.
I'll start real quick and then look over to Jim and tell him to be quiet online. There, the highlight there is this, the highlight that the towel service used to be provided by Park District at a cost, and it was a member benefit. It was they stopped doing it during COVID. There was concern about our walker dryer machine. Also, that were there, industrial and large, they're getting. Fortunately, the building, the room was built around it, so they won't even fit out. They'll have to be disassembled, and you can't put the same ones in. So they're looking at some, different size units. But through the recent survey, they've identified that using sweat towel will require almost 75% of the members more interested in seeing that problem. Shower towels, we're not really a priority, less than 25%, just a little bit under 25% with percentage that we're interested in the shower towel. So staff has evaluated that and felt that they could bring sweat towel back a little bit more easily with the equipment we have, maybe having a stackable industrial washer dryer in the new budget in 24. And so that was the discussion at the facility facility program committee meeting, and then Jim, I'll let you fill in whatever I missed.
Yeah, so originally it was proposed to bring back or to purchase or budget two, and the facilities and programs committee came back and said, let's start with one washer, one dryer. Now, even during those and purchase those, we're going next year. But I think the current industrial washing and working, kind of once we start moving along with this one, before our facility services manager, Mike, came and left, Yeah, those were really in bad shape. You can't get parts from them anymore, because once we started the service, they're in right now. And we've had those issues before in the past, where the water environment has broken down, where staff actually physically took the towels and brought them home, and then washed them, dried them, and brought them. There's a facility for 3 days, and then we found a service that they would do the next 2 days until they got fixed. So we don't want to be in the position of staff bringing home and doing towel. We want to make sure we budget for the driver, so we can, that we can bring them in. It is going to take some time because we are going to dismantle. If this gets approved tonight, we would start sweat towels immediately tomorrow. So we bring 150 brand new towels that have been in stock, on in storage. We'll bring those out and start that service. So we're looking to approve bringing back the sweat house.
And it could eventually be part of it, if there is a need, the phase 2 would be reevaluate that interest in the shower towel, and then potentially buying another stackable washer and dryer for 12,500 listed in the memo here each. But we felt like this was a good first step to bring back and again identified as a priority in that survey by our fitness members.
I had this discussion with Emily, not to sound too creepy. Do you actually know how many people use the showers? Because obviously we can count the number of people who use the fitness center. I don't know if you tally the same thing.
So I think about the number and then kind of looking over the survey. They're not use as much as people would think. There's definitely some repairs or remodeling. Stay out of the showers. I think personally, if we bring back the regular shower towel service, we need to evaluate the shower, especially the nice shower. They're definitely in bad shape. And we did evaluate that this past year. Michael looked into many different options on how to repair them, and so that it would be cost effective. It's not going to be cost effective. We even looked at bidders, to do something. We thought maybe it would still look nice, that can probably last like 10 years, 15 years. It just that won't.
So one of the things too that's part of the money that we requested from the state as part of that total 285,000 in funding for the recreation center was doing renovating the locker room, make sure we meet all the ADA guidelines, to be repairing those showers. So that's one thing that makes our move forward yet with budgeting to do it ourselves, or we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with state funding.
So if I'm hearing this, then the reason why it's only bringing back the sweat towels is because we don't have the cleaning capacity to handle anything more than bringing back the sweat towels.
And the fact that it's not identified as a priority by the members.
Okay, so then the sweat towels are a priority, just bring those back, and if we have the budgeting in place, once we are able to bring back the new cleaning facilities, the new washing and dryer, then look at whether the bath towels will be brought back, but that's also a function of the usability of the showers.
That's right. And we continue to evaluate now with our new manager who will oversee the facilities as well. In a discussion and review, continue that process of those start with the men, and then we will look into the ladies. But that is something we would like to continue to look into and bring back to the board.
Wait, wasn't on the survey a question about the bathrooms, and
Yes.
it wasn't a priority for the members?
It was not.
Yeah, they were fine with the showers the way they are.
Yeah. And there are a lot of written ones. There are other people that voice their opinions that do use it. It's a small minority that use the shower. But they do complain about it. They do say, if you look at them, you can do it, you can show you the manager. They're
Community survey.
not in good shape.
Right, just wasn't identified as one of the priorities. And for, they also said the equipment was fine, you know, the cable machine, which is, you know, 20-year-old equipment. It looked pretty good because we take care of it, we reupholster it and so that's still working, but again, not identified as a priority. Also that, you know, the carpeting, replacing the carpeting, you know, some of the things they do, you know, some of them just need to, you know, identify it as a need and it might not be a priority, but we need to get done anyway. And those like the showers, for instance, I think are pretty bad shape and they need to be done, but if we can secure the state funding and do all of it at once, then, you know, that's gonna be our best route forward.
When was the last time they were renovated?
Now,
It's not about 20 years old, the building.
Yeah.
and there is no areas for that's, with the times. The matters.
Is that what they're on the 10-year capital?
It is,
It's in there for, it's on the budget
yeah,
for $30,000, isn't it?
Where the
Tile, we have the,
I mean, with the definition, it's good ones.
It's sort of part of it.
Let's put on the 10-year plan. I'm kind of,
on that list has been added.
seeing it's added to.
It was on, I want to say, maybe 24. I don't know.
I mean, it's here, it says tile and counter for longer than it's 30,000.
Yeah.
So what is that for then? Yeah,
Safe rooms. That's how I'm gonna be, they have things into the showers. Or they're in the budget, for the capital, right? Because it's kind of that building. Maybe $40,000, according to my notes. But I believe, to do that, they were 15 to 30,000 a piece for each of the shops.
I think,
how many towers are there?
think that sounds right. Is there 4 men's? 3.
Well, the 80 rooms is fine,
Yeah,
because it doesn't get used. Now I'm trying to think if there's 3 additional. Who write it on 80,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah. Renovate one per year. That's gonna be.
We did, but we put it in the 10-year remedy.
Essentially, but I don't think it's the right number.
Also, I know when the friends mentioned they had like $1,500 for the fitness center, I think we should ask them to use that money because it's just sitting there to go towards the fitness center. Because that's fitness center members donated that money and it should be used. And so,
I agree.
I think, I mean, what I've heard from users is they do want towels back for the showers. I've never had anybody complain to me about the shower. They have complained about not having towels to take a shower. Also, when we reciprocate the showers for Lake Forest residents, they complain that we don't have towels here. But no one's ever complained to me about how the showers look, but they did complain to me about not having towels. So it's interesting what feedback you get, right? So.
Is that an issue that people use bath towels instead of sweat towels? And that increases our laundry load? Do people use the bath towels instead of the sweat towels? And that increases our laundry load? Okay.
Could be.
I know.
Yeah. And I do remember you mentioning that the washer and dryers do get used by the pool employees. So it's not just fitness that uses the washer and dryer, it's also the pool.
And our means, you know, for they do towels that they use for cleaning the gymnasium floor, it's water.
So then maybe we should put both washers and dryers into capital plan. We didn't have a lot of time to discuss it at the facility and programs committee because it was the last item. And just like thinking back, it's not just used for the fitness center, those washers and dryers, it's used for multiple purposes. So in that case, it's really kind of the capital expense for multiple areas. And so,
So.
This would drive. Have an outsourced service. I'm just wondering if that's.
And extremely expensive to do, what we do in outsource versus doing it ourselves.
I just think it's really important to have small victories. And you did a community survey, we did a community survey and for the fitness members, and they mentioned the towels. And they did mention the sweat towels. And I think it was like 80 members, and there's over 700 members. So that's 10% of the members who and so I just feel like if you bring back a sweat towel, then you don't bring back the towel. The back towels is just, it's just a kind of an easy one to have, that you're listening to your members and.
But we also talked about maybe possibly sweating with one washer and dryer because we don't do sweat towels. Could we handle the bath towels if with one set of washer and dryer if we had both? And that doubles that capital expense.
Even with only a handful of people using the showers.
That goes to my question of not being pretty happy.
Back to the question that's that are they taking the bathhouse and to that instead of well, here it is. So I don't know if they influence to that. It's like
Free flowing, or do you have to like go to the desk and get one? You know, because that's like different too. Like this someone might take 3 if they're free flowing, but someone
usually for people, you know, they don't like put them in the account. You know, fun, you know, to have the more down, yeah, right? Yeah, but it's rather yes, it's all that. It's in a regular. Yeah. There's an yeah. Those shower towels are 3 sizes, 3 times the size of those white towels.
Okay, so this budget for 2024 for $12,500. How quickly is this acquisition going to be made?
So there's currently on the seeing that on the last leg, but we can just replace some right after the first of the year. We can have to wait.
It's not like we're waiting for Black Friday or something.
Even should tomorrow, sweat towel areas. Yeah, those water and dryer and then at the first of the year replacement.
Because I think going to what Emily said about making sure that those people that do want it service, if we announce that they're doing sweat towels, I think it would be a good thing for us to say then, as of X date, when we have the capacity to take on this additional laundry, that's when we're going to roll the towels. I don't want it hanging out there.
I mean, the sweat towel.
Okay, so if we are budgeting this for 2024, we're gonna put in the budget, and approve it as of the 18th of December. We should then say there should be a date certain that this new washer and dryer are going to be acquired by the park district so that we will have bath towels by next date. So
If we're going to just have 2 sets of the washers and dryers. In order to go back to, so now double the budget.
right, but I thought we said we could just do it with new ones. Do we need to have a $25,000 expenditure to do bath towels? We need a second washer and dryer?
We feel really well. He said there was a small, there was a medium, and then the regular ones we had. So these were the medium, and he said in order to handle that kind of load, we would have shower towels. Normally we need 2 of each, you know, stack.
But do we know the load? I mean, that's what I think.
It's not, and then you have this experience in the past.
But that's the pandemic, and I really did that 30%.
Yeah.
So that, could do it.
enough.
You know, it sound like it's something we have to consider. For next year for the Health and Fitness Club. We have been there. That does not take into account capital expenditures for the health and fitness. 20,000.
What page you?
This is age. For the cycle.
Thank you.
One year, you know, 1 hour planning. And like the capital expenditures. You know, maybe the 10-year period, we have already even side. But I don't care about how many waters and dryers we buy. And if there is something negative.
When I say create the problem, you know, like if we need it, we should get it, but do we have to approve it all? You know, do we have to say, let's go, when we're not even sure, you know? I don't know, I think start small and leave the door open for sure.
Well, I think that's what we originally said, was step five with the one set of dollars and the, so it's just. I'm really, I think, sure, this is right.
The white towels were never presented as that option, it was just the sweat towels. It was never presented. So I don't understand why there just can't be a fee at that house for people that would like that. It's just a nice customer service item to have that I know. And then maybe that's something we can ask friends to pay for, the second washer and dryer. I know they have more money in just general fund. Maybe they can pay for this second washer and dryer.
If we need it.
Yeah, we need it.
Where's the page for the revenues for the?
But, you know, you bring back the sweat house to the regular,
That's expenditures. For the revenues, or 37.6.
36.
I mean, you do have.
Yes, yeah. I think. Right, I need to be sure stuff off of that.
But I'd like to have all our seniors.
We have it at a club recently that took away bath towels. Usually have another bath towel, it's free, I mean, membership, they got rid of that, not only have they sell. So if you need to.
It's like the yoga studios, too, you pay for a towel.
And so then you have a view, but didn't take home.
Yep.
You know, so. Going with that, you know, we can do that, but you know, have more equipment or a bit more time driving. But you know, we're looking at a sort of based in approach based on, you know, the survey and where the input was and the need right now for TV. That's why that is why we recommend that facility committee.
I don't know, it's just going to do this one. I'm just saying these things, it's nice to say next stage could be. But you get into moving the showers. Yeah, I think no better than saying. Just maybe have to be honest with that, but yeah, you know, say in showers, you know, don't. With another two people out of the challenge.
Maybe it's me because it's a different use, but when I've used the fitness center, I don't think of it as a showering place. Like I would personally never shower here. I shower at Midtown. I also personally, you know, there's not showers in yoga studios. I would never even think about it. Like go do my class, go, you know, like it's so close to the house. Like it's not like a bigger club is more like an experience. There's a, you know, indoor pool. There's, you know, a whole bunch of stuff. It's like a different thing, and there's a need for towels for things like that. I'm fine with anything either way. I think we should definitely bring back the small towels, and I'm gonna keep calling them small towels instead of the other. And I think we could throw some of the other ones out too and see what happens. I don't know why we would, you know, with that, I think it would be fine, but I don't know, you know, how many people will take advantage of it. That's what I'd be curious to see before we, you know, launch into the washer dryer.
So we do have a fixed-in process, as we mentioned, we start on both stuff on those. And then we could say like. Large close. We see how the options of where the usage is going. So we don't even stop. So we can close those, some shower tables. First, and we can, you know, like the top of staff, we can track. The usage of it and the impact we have on the wall.
You know, with those towels, was there a quote for purchasing shower towels?
Yeah, I have to put that on the wall and we can. You know, really the budget. It's not in the budget for now.
Feedback,
Yeah, I really want, you know, sweat hours are, they're factored in there. Same with the soap and everything else, but that's not gonna be that.
Before COVID.
We use them as cleaning plans, we use them.
those ones that were shredded up.
Yeah.
I remember that, I remember part of them.
But just. I'd rather go less than more. I mean, we try to keep our costs really low for health club, and it's one of the lowest. We're community health clubs around here. Our volume is what we're never make money from what I've seen. It's hard to look at the capital expense, but it's not a money maker. And the volume's down 30%. I'm leaning toward more conservative. Just the way I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, you're losing members because you're not offering services like it was before. You don't have as many fitness classes, you don't have services like you used to have. So yeah, people are gonna go where they're gonna have more services. And it's not actually the least amount, because I've checked them out. And other districts and so. But I just think you need to provide a service, and if you're not providing it, people will go somewhere else. So.
But do you know what you think? Here's the 10%.
I think that's a perk. I think when people come here, there are people that take a shower in the morning, they take a shower and they go to work. There are people that come early in the morning here. And you know, the nice thing is we have that committee membership responsibility, so everybody can sign up to use the fitness center and check it out in the morning, check it out in the afternoon and the evenings, and see, you know, your meeting is always important as commissioners. That's, you know, part of our responsibility as commissioners is to try out the different facilities and see how it's going. So I know not everybody's fitness center here. So I do. And so yeah, I advocate for the members there. Because they come up to me and they tell me. So, I don't know who else works out here.
The elevated 10-year capital funding plan, right?
With the correct budget including there, so by the 16-17.
Okay, so later it's small.
Okay, so going back around to the modified towel service. Is there any more comments, thoughts about? So if I'm hearing this correctly, this is bringing in the sweat towels now. We have an acquisition of a washer dryer unit coming into 2024, but this wouldn't be sufficient to handle the bath towels. But the suggestion was to slowly phase it in sometime in the first quarter of next year to see if the new washer dryer could accommodate that kind of capacity. But it would have to be communicated to fitness center users, the reason why we are only modifying, only bringing back part of the total service.
Could we just bring back a handful of the shower halls, just that, like a small, like, you know, make a small purchase and just see how it goes, and then if we're inundated, maybe we purchase this washer dryer sooner, or.
It should be a decision, you know, to go that direction or not, you know, so it's like, put it all in the water, but, you know, people are gonna get it, start using it, and you're gonna get to go away. You can't do it,
Yeah.
or we're not really committed to doing it, you don't wanna have to wait back. So you have to, you know, put it aside, I mean, just make it a decision to.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Kind of evaluate it and everything, and March first, we kind of reevaluate back to the board with more information, you know, there's no time to change, you know, come out, you know, the budget to the appropriations at that time and add it. If we add the second washer and dryer if it's needed, or just the purchase of the, you know, shower towel. But I would. I would just putting a hand on, and I would think it needs to be kind of a plan before we do it.
I mean,
We come back to some of them on stage, we introduce sweat towels now. We're going to get their phones back, why don't you have the shower? Now, you know, so we can hear that feedback and we can say January 3rd, which would be 2 months. And then we're down 8 months to somewhere in January, moving into February.
and I will say this, in looking at the 2024 budget, if you're looking at, total revenue for the pub for the year, 24,000. That's your washer dryer budget right there. That's not including all the other, capital expenditures that we have to have, which would include the pre-weight area, the, fitness equipment, flooring, the locker rooms, talent counter, and that doesn't even include anything with the showers that you're just mentioning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's tough because you want to be able to have people want to come here, but at the same time, this isn't, we're not covering the capital expenditure that we have to put into the facility.
Yeah, and it's hard because the members don't, you know, they're not commenting about the new boiler.
So it's and carry covering operation expenses with it. I don't think we could break it down, but we do our budget. I mean, that's something which, and I think we went through this before as to how we allocate that because of staff. And it's the preschool because of the debt that's at all there, you know, we went through that when we did the reconfiguration of the budget back in 2017. So,
Are those items on interviews to be pushed back? That are on the capital list, flooring and all that, because again, the survey didn't, and when everybody, it was the towels and everybody said, oh, it looks good, it looks fine. I didn't, when I read this, or when you read it, so did you notice anything? No, but no, it was a meeting. And no.
And we should just, you know, I think it sounds like an exercise. And yeah, this is one of the we want all the related capital investment from food. But in that, it can be allocated. I'm not going back to the accounting where your salary is allocated, you know, $3 like else.
Yeah.
So
They've done that in the past.
yes.
That's what we spend. And I don't really take into account the that it's too complicated allocating, you know, what's here and there. But what will be the fitness center for this year? And I think that would be, I would do this whole exercise for the finance committee to go through. And say, activity, you know, that's fine. But just so you kind of have an eyes open when we say, this is what we're spending on health and fitness. We know it's money on the beach, we know it's money on the trip. This is sad, we don't really know we're losing money on this. And we really it's just so we analyzing, it's not a change. And we don't really do this, I know it wasn't that. But just to understand.
Well, Stan, we do a number of things and we do them very well. And we offer this as an amenity to the community. And we understand that like the beach, like the pool, there are things that go in the community that some we'll have to subsidize from other areas. You know, we don't have an aquatic park. We have a great 50-meter pool out there. It's not, you know, it's not, it is what everybody expects it to be because it's been there for 50 years. Our 20-year-old fitness center is a 20-year-old fitness center. We are offering things like Pilates, which is great, but at the same time, you know, it may not be the best for everyone. So you know, if you're able to do that, that's a good exercise to say this is. Let's see where we are with the renovations. You know, we know with the preschool, they've always completely funded, they've always raised money, they've always been very self-sustaining. It's been very investment. Dance is the same thing.
Yeah.
Camps are, yeah.
Everything that's much more than this is.
And when this facility was built, it was built because there were not many facilities out there. There's a ton of facilities out there. And I'm not saying we should be in business, but I think we should be really monitoring the business itself from a financial standpoint, to say, is this still a value and can we still provide this service well?
All right, so back to what we have on our agenda, which is, it is a staff recommendation to bring back sweat towels and approve it, obviously, because it's prior part of the 2024 budget, we do that. So it would be a motion then, to approve bringing back the sweat towel service.
I'll move to approve bringing back these small towels.
The small.
Base towels, like bring, try out for a little bit and then bring. I guess we'll come back to the board and talk about it.
Okay, and then, okay, so it's done to bring back, so here, okay, bring back the smaller towels and review phasing in the larger towels.
Yes. So
Okay. That is so moved.
Second.
And a second. All right. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Greenfield,
Yes.
Commissioner Lane,
Yeah.
Commissioner Raymore,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
yes,
President Beeler.
Yes. Okay, very good. And then I think it would be really good to communicate to our users of the rec center when they're anticipating the towels and talking about the new washer dryer. I don't know how many people are excited about the boiler, but maybe I'm excited.
Well, I think it's before, and I think there will be some excitement about it coming back.
Okay, so it's
So we'll communicate that.
kudos to the person who does it.
I think we should ask Brenda to pay. You use some center.
What I'd like to do is, I did mark up, the master capital list as this continues to evolve with the budget, please let me know. But I'll bring this to Ann as the liaison in John Hirsch. And say, these are opportunities if the funds are so fund. You know, water driver funding or something more exciting than that. All right. That concludes everything that we have under the new business. May I give a motion please to adjourn? Second. Thank you.